Returning home from the UN General Assembly, South Korean President Yoon says his New York trip yielded progress for a global market and the country's expo bid, while also reiterating a strong message to Russia and North Korea. High-level diplomatic talks start today in Seoul, involving Japan and China to revive a three-way summit that has been in limbo for years. Team Korea adds a gold in shooting, a silver in the men's rifle, and a bronze in rowing in Hangzhou on Monday, on the heels of 5 golds over the weekend with many firsts to talk about. It's September 25th, 2023. This is News Center. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Yoon Jung-min. Having returned home from the UN Assembly, President Yoon says his New York trip renewed Korea's role in addressing universal concern in tandem with global expectations and that it has yielded progress for a global market and the country's expo bid. He once again sent a strong message to Russia and North Korea. Our top office correspondent Kim Do-yeon leads us off.
Looking back on his trip to New York last week with 48 diplomatic events in 5 days, President Yoon said on Monday the world now has higher expectations for South Korea's contributions globally.
그들은 우리 정부의 자유와 연대라는 국정기조가 외교 무대에서도 일관되게 적용되고 있어 대한민국 정부의 국제적 역할에 대한 신뢰와 기대가 점점 커지고 있다고 했습니다.
The comment came at a cabinet meeting where he said this reputation meant more leaders tuned into his speech at the UN General Assembly and boosted the status of Busan's World Expo bid. He also called on relevant ministries during the meeting for follow-on measures to the 41 sideline summits that he had so that what was discussed between the two countries lead to tangible results. The president also touched upon his speech at the UN General Assembly, re-emphasizing South Korea's vision to take the lead in closing global disparities in 3 areas: development, climate change, and digital order. The government's official development assistance budget will be more than double next year compared to 5 years ago.
우리는 개발협력 수원국들이 의식주 환경을 빠르게 개선할 수 있게 돕고 이들이 경제 사회적으로 자립할 수 있는 역량을 갖추도록 교육 훈련 분야 ODA를 강화해 나갈 것입니다.
At the UN, President Yoon committed an extra $300 million to the Green Climate Fund and announced the establishment of the Carbon-Free Alliance. He added, if the alliance is a success, it'll enhance South Korea's competitiveness in the nuclear and hydrogen sectors with access to a massive new market for Korean companies in the industry. In the meantime, President Yoon mentioned South Korea's leadership in formulating the Digital Bill of Rights. This comes as he attended New York University's Digital Vision Forum for the 2nd year in a row.
늘 새로운 기술이 출현할 때마다 새로운 규범과 표준에 대한 논의가 이루어졌으며 이 논의를 주도한 나라가 예외 없이 해당 기술과 산업 발전을 주도해 왔습니다. 이제 새로운 AI 디지털 규범의 정립과 국제기구의 설립을 우리 대한민국이 주도하고자 합니다.
President Yoon also took the time to restate his stern message regarding Russia's recent enhancement of military cooperation with North Korea. Without naming Russia directly this time, he said it's a concern that a UN Security Council member is helping a regime that violates UN security resolutions. He said as a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council starting 2024, South Korea will lead the world's peace based on rule of law. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
And clarity on matters of global concern such as climate change and broader security are reportedly providing President Yoon with a tangible platform for the administration's foreign policy. Now, this is according to pundits analyzing his latest diplomatic initiatives. Our correspondent Oh Soo-young reports.
South Korea is stepping out into the global spotlight with its confident diplomacy as it calls out subversive powers and commits to building a fair and rules-based world based on solidarity. That's according to experts speaking to Arirang News following President Yoon Suk-yeol's week of diplomacy during the UN General Assembly. His speech on Wednesday local time took a firmer stance than ever before on global security, asserting that Seoul will not tolerate enablers of North Korea's weapons of mass destruction, issuing a warning towards Russia directly. After Vladimir Putin hosted Kim Jong-un earlier this month, Yoon said it was, quote, paradoxical to be a permanent member of the UN Security Council, yet aid a country sanctioned by the Council's resolutions. He also said that Moscow has instigated war against Ukraine, which is also directly threatened by the potential Russia-North Korea weapons collaboration.
Yeah, I really like the fact that he played up the proactive side of Korean foreign policy. I think it's pretty unprecedented. I think he highlighted again the necessity of aligning with like-minded states, emphasizing liberal international norms.
Backing the call to reform the Security Council's membership system, where Russia enjoys veto powers, Yoon made it clear Seoul will not stand for threats against peace, particularly as a non-permanent member of the Council for a 2-year term beginning next year.
I think for a while, South Korea was just focused on South Korean things. But as a global pivotal state talking about values and human rights, universal norms, President Yoon has taken on a regional and global role that I can't remember any other South Korean leader doing. And you could see the welcome that he got at the White House, the state dinner, the speech at Congress, the Camp David summit. I think South Korea is front and center in President Biden's Indo-Pacific strategy and a very trusted partner and ally.
Beyond security issues, observers say South Korea is not only backing Washington's initiatives, but assuming the role of a responsible player in the international community. In his General Assembly address, Yoon pledged to spearhead climate and digital initiatives in particular, launching a multilateral platform for cooperation on carbon-free efforts and pushing for a digital Bill of Rights.
President Yoon is not a junior partner. And in many ways, the initiative is his to do things that even you and I may not dream of. And this is the key. Whispering in the halls of the General Assembly and the various missions to the UN, the fact that, hey, you know, this South Korean president, you know, look what he's doing and look what he's saying and look all the heads of leaders that he's meeting.
Particularly with the US and China locked in geopolitical rivalry on multiple fronts, from trade and infrastructural projects to technology and maritime norms. Experts say Korea's principled playbook on diplomacy aligns with its vision of becoming a global pivotal state, as it not only joins but leads conversations to secure a brighter future for the world. Oh Seong, Arirang News.
A series of diplomatic talks are being held in the South Korean capital involving Japan and China, aiming to revive a three-way summit that hasn't happened in years. In the meantime, eyes are on a possible visit by Chinese President Xi Jinping to Seoul following high-level talks over the weekend in Hangzhou. Our Lee Si-hoo tells us more.
Senior officials from South Korea, Japan, and China are holding a series of meetings in Seoul this week to prepare for the resumption of the long-stalled summit of their leaders. Seoul's Foreign Minister Park Jin met with the officials of Japan and China on Monday and called for collaborative efforts.
I asked some leaders here to work closely together to make summit possible within this year. I hope that some leaders will do their very best to make this happen.
Discussions will continue during the high-level talk set for Tuesday. South Korean Deputy Foreign Minister Chung Byung-won will speak with Japan's Senior Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs Takehiro Funakoshi and China's Assistant Minister of Foreign Affairs Nung Rung. South Korea, as the chair of the meeting, is expected to propose a blueprint for the trilateral to Japan and China and ask for feedback. The summit between the leaders of the three countries, which began in 2008, has not taken place in nearly 4 years since their last in China in 2019. The COVID-19 pandemic, along with disputes between South Korea and Japan over forced labor compensation rulings, had played a part in the suspension. Meanwhile, South Korea's Prime Minister Han Duck-soo met with Chinese President Xi Jinping on Saturday in Hangzhou. A South Korean government official said at a briefing afterward that Xi had said that he would consider a visit to South Korea in a serious manner. Xi's will to visit, however, was not included in the post-meeting statement released by China. An expert on China says that the agenda for the potential meeting is insufficient.
Under the current circumstances, there are not many things that can be exchanged through Xi Jinping's visit, so the possibility of a visit to Korea doesn't seem likely in terms of agenda setting.
The same expert added that trilaterals deal with lighter issues such as economy, society, and culture, unlike bilaterals which involve heavier diplomatic agendas. Therefore, a trilateral is much more likely to take place. Lee Si-hu, Arirang News.
The foreign minister of Russia is set to visit Pyongyang next month, possibly to discuss President Vladimir Putin's widely anticipated visit to North Korea. This could be seen as a move to further strengthen trilateral relations between Pyongyang, Moscow, and Beijing, as Putin is set to meet with Chinese leader Xi Jinping in October as well. Our Choi Min-jung has this report.
Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has announced plans to visit North Korea next month. Speaking to reporters after delivering a speech at the UN General Assembly on Saturday, Lavrov said his visit comes following the recent summit between North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and Russian President Vladimir Putin. This will mark Lavrov's first visit to North Korea in over 5 years.
In accordance with the agreements reached between Kim Jong-un and Putin, we will carry out negotiations in Pyongyang, which may indeed take place next month.
Lavrov is likely to discuss Putin's anticipated visit to Pyongyang during the talks with his North Korean counterparts. During the summit between the two leaders earlier this month, Putin accepted Kim's invitation to visit North Korea.
Kim Jong-un invited Putin to visit North Korea. Putin gratefully accepted this invitation. All further coordination will continue through diplomatic channels.
Russia's closer relations with North Korea coincide with its growing intimacy with China. Last week, Putin accepted an invitation to China for October to meet with his Chinese counterpart, Xi Jinping. One expert hinted at a stronger trilateral cooperation between Pyongyang, Beijing, and Moscow.
North Korea and Russia are likely to get closer. With strengthening North Korea-Russia relations, it seems relatively unlikely that China will break away from the trilateral alliance.
Pundits are also anticipating a possible trilateral summit between the three following Putin's visit to China and North Korea. Choi Min-jung, Arirang News.
The South Korean Navy announced today that it had begun a joint maritime exercise with the U.S. in the East Sea. The drill is to strengthen the operational defense capabilities of both countries amid escalating threats from North Korea. 9 ships and 2 maritime patrol aircraft from the two allies are participating in the exercise, which includes anti-submarine warfare training as well as live fire drills. The Navy released a statement saying the joint exercise was to effectively deter and respond to Pyongyang's escalating nuclear and missile threats and further solidify the joint defense readiness of South Korea and the U.S. The drill will continue until Wednesday. There was a grand opening over the weekend in Hangzhou, and with that, the Asian Games are well underway right now. Without further ado, let's take a look at what's been happening from a Team Korea perspective with our sports editor, Paul Need. Hello, Paul. Lots to unpack already.
Yes, absolutely. You're quite right. A flurry of medals over the weekend. Let's start with Korea's first. It came on Sunday in the modern pentathlon. Kim Sun-woo won it, earning silver after picking up 1,386 points in the final. She finished just 10 points behind Jang Ming-yu of China, who finished first. The modern pentathlon consists of swimming, fencing, horse riding, pistol shooting and running. This is Kim's third Asian Games and third medal, having won gold in 2014 and bronze in 2018. And South Korea's first gold medal came in a sport that's synonymous with the country, Taekwondo. It was won by Kang Wan-jin on Sunday, who defeated Ma Yun-jong of Chinese Taipei in the men's individual Poomsae final. It was a similar story for Cha Ye-eun too, who won gold in the women's Poomsae final. She beat Yuko Niwa of Japan. And in winning, Cha is South Korea's first female gold medalist in Poomsae at the ASIAD. Poomsae became an official Asian Games medal discipline in 2018 and consists of a series of attack and defence moves performed in a sequence. Moving on to fencing now, Cheon-jong on Sunday won gold in the women's individual épée. She actually beat a Team Korea teammate to do so, overcoming Song Se-ra 9-8. It was also the first all-Korean match at the Asian Games since 2002. Song Se-ra then won silver. But for Cheon-jong, it was her first Asian Games gold after bronze in 2014 and 2018. But Che and Song will be teaming up together on Wednesday for a team event. And now moving on to swimming, Hwang Sun-woo, a household name these days due to his national and Asian record-breaking feats, has picked up his first ASIAD medal. He won bronze on Sunday in the 100-metre freestyle, the very first medal of his career in fact. Hwang finished with a time of 48.04 seconds, and he's only the second South Korean to earn a medal at the Asian Games in this event. The other is a certain Park Tae-hwan, who won silver in 2006 and gold in 2010. Now to football. South Korea's men's team have started the tournament very strongly. On Sunday, Korea made it 3 group stage wins from 3 with a 3-0 win over Bahrain. But the manner in which Korea won the game was something of a departure from their 2 previous matches, having to wait until the second half to break the deadlock. Lee Han-bom made it 1-0 just after the hour mark with a close-range header. Park Sung-ho then made it 2-0 on 74 minutes with a wonderfully struck shot from outside the area. Go Young-jun then made it 3-0 7 minutes from time. Lee Kang-in started the match. It was his first appearance in the Asian Games so far, having joined up with the team late. But he was forced off in the first half due to fitness concerns. Korea, though, they finished top of the group with 9 points, 16 goals scored and none conceded. They faced Kyrgyzstan in the round of 16 on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Korea time. And finally, to some notable events from Monday. South Korea's first medal of the day was won by the men's rifle team, winning silver. The team of Park Ha-jun, Kim Sang-do and Nam Tae-yoon earned a combined points total of 1,890.1, just 3.6 points behind the winners India. And speaking of first, Korea's first ever ASIAD rowing medal was won earlier today. Kim Ha-young and Lee Soo-bin recorded a time of 7 minutes 51.54 seconds to finish third behind China and Hong Kong. And in fencing, Gu Bon-gil and Oh Sang-wook both booked their places in the semi-finals of the men's sabre events. Both are back in action tonight, looking to book their places in the final. That's all from me. Let's now take a look at the medal rankings.
Shifting gears, a second team of Korean experts dispatched the defunct Fukushima nuclear power plant in Japan have returned home, having wrapped up their inspection of the first phase of the water release amid concerns at home and in other countries. They say they did not find an abnormal situation. Lee Soo-jin has more.
The second team of South Korean experts dispatched to examine facilities at the Fukushima nuclear plant has concluded that everything is in order. Park Gu-yeon, the first vice minister for government policy and coordination, said in a press briefing on Monday that 3 experts from the Korea Institute of Nuclear Safety did not find anything out of the ordinary during their inspection of the central monitoring and control room and the seawater pipe header. The 3 experts were in Fukushima from last Tuesday until Saturday.
The experts confirmed with an official at Tokyo Electric Power Company in a Q&A session there wasn't anything out of the ordinary found, and that TEPCO plans to collect and analyze samples from the upstream water tank, seawater piping header, and waters within 3 kilometers before starting the second discharge.
In a visit to the International Atomic Energy Agency's Fukushima office, the experts also re-verified the results from Tokyo Electric Power Company's facility inspection after the first discharge. The first phase, which was concluded on the 11th of this month, amounted to a total of 7,800 tons. To analyze the impact on the environment, TEPCO, along with Japan's Environment Ministry and other interested agencies, collected seawater and fish from around the nuclear power plant and analyzed each for tritium concentration. Data showed that tritium levels remained below the standards set by TEPCO. The highest concentration was 10 becquerels per liter, detected near the discharge port on the 31st of last month. However, this is far below 700 becquerels per liter within 3 kilometers of the nuclear power plant, which TEPCO has set as the standard. TEPCO will continue as it is planning a release of a second batch of 31,200 tons of wastewater by March next year. 이수진, Arirang News.
President Yoon Suk-yeol officially inaugurated career bureaucrat Park Mun-gyu as the new Minister of Trade, Industry and Energy. In a ceremony held today on Monday, Yoon instated Park as the country's industry chief as the administration looks to revive its nuclear power sector. Having served in various finance-related government posts, Park was appointed as the government's policy coordination minister after heading the state-run Export-Import Bank of Korea from 2019. The presidential office has said the new minister has been deemed fit to implement key national tasks and ramp up strategic industries, trade and regulatory reforms. Following his inauguration, Park visited the Korea Federation of SMEs, pledging efforts to support small businesses and remove red tape to enable growth across key industries. Exports of agricultural food products are in good shape thanks in part to the growing worldwide popularity of K-food. That's according to the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs on Monday, saying the value of exports of Korean agricultural food products this year until mid-September was over $6.3 billion. That was up 0.4% compared to the same period in 2022. The increasing popularity of Korean content has led to larger exports of K-food, especially instant noodles called ramyeon, which saw over 23% jump year-on-year. Exports of other foods such as processed rice products, including kimbap and kimchi, also rose about 16% and 10% each. The National Fire Agency will deploy additional personnel from its 119 emergency medical services over the Chuseok holiday to substitute for potential local clinic and doctor's office closures. The agency announced today that 230 trained medical personnel, including nurses and emergency medical technicians, will be on standby 24 hours a day to provide these services. The agency increased the number of emergency personnel based on a 1.4-fold increase in call-outs during last year's holiday period. It will also provide information on which hospitals are open during the holiday and emergency treatment guidelines. Foreign residents can also access these services via phone and the internet.
For the next few days, the nation will see unsettled weather pattern of rain and fluctuating temperatures. For tomorrow, overall conditions will get a touch breezier with cold rain in store nationwide. Highs will drop by about 4 degrees at 22 degrees Celsius here in Seoul. After the rain tomorrow, daytime highs will be rising again, creating big contrast in daily temperatures. Currently, a group of rain clouds is approaching from the west of the country. Showers will start from central regions overnight and they will spread nationwide by tomorrow morning. As for the overall amount of rainfall, central regions in Gyeongsang-Bukdo province will see 5 to 30 millimeters. Jeollabukdo province will see 5 to 10. For central regions and the surrounding areas, showers will be coming and going until this Wednesday. And tomorrow, Seoul and Daegu will be starting off at 20 degrees. Rainy spells will be dominating for the daytime. Seoul will get up to 22 degrees. Daejeon 24, Gwangju and Busan will be reaching 26 degrees. On Friday, which is the actual day of the Chuseok holiday, sunny skies are in the forecast. Conditions will be fairly moderate with highs of 25 degrees. That's all for now, and here are the weather conditions around the world.
That is News Center for tonight. Thank you for watching. A panel session coming up.